Paying the Piper, a short horror story, written by Stories from the Attic, narrated by Robin Mcconnell. Of course, I've always thought there was something dark about those stories. Though we read them to our children, allowing them to drip from the ends of our tongues, coated in the sweetness of affection, without a second thought, we often fail to recognize the acid laced within these words, the malevolent undercurrent that swirls just beneath the surface. For whilst fairy tales are sanitized and cleaned up for our Disney-packaged interpretations, you only need to go back a century or two to trace these willowy branches back to the roots, and suddenly things become far more sinister. I had always suspected this to be the case, but it wasn't until 2016 that I truly began to fear the sound of a flute or pipe. It was not until the arrival of the vial and the note that I realized, whilst we dismiss these stories of magic and sorcery as fantasies of the impossible, impossible is only a measure of what has not yet been done. When those seemingly impossible things become reality, when the fantasies manifest in real life, they are not the clean, sanitized version that we know. Instead, they are born into this world in strange and wicked shapes. Considering what came after, it seems almost comical that the whole thing started with a single vial of a yellowish ochre liquid. In recent years, all mail that arrived at the police precinct, no matter what it was, has had to be tested. With the threat of chemical attacks and cases of things like ricin and anthrax being sent to targets through the mail, you can never be too careful. I think the suspicion is heightened by the fact that the stuff is actually sent via the snail mail in the first place. Unless you're actually expecting a letter, some documentation or a package from someone, then to receive an actual letter nowadays immediately rings alarm bells. 9 times out of 10, anything that needs sending, be it correspondence or documents, can be sent via email. An unexpected package is unusual, and therefore, in the police precinct at least, suspect. That isn't to say the police don't still receive mail. All kinds of documents and official memoranda like certificates and records have to be signed and sent back on their way by recorded delivery. So, before anything comes upstairs from the mailroom, it is checked with metal detectors, and the sniffer dogs do sweeps of virtually all of the mailrooms a few times a day. Despite all that caution, every now and again something gets...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?